Welcome to Tibalt's Apprentice. What is this, episode 21 already?
21.
Yeah, we're just breezing along here.
We're old enough to drink now. Not that I condone such a thing.
That'd be a whole different show at this point, I bet. So welcome to you joining us here. We've got a few things to talk about. You know, number one, I'm quitting Magic. Two, well, reasons, because I have Planeswalkers. And talk a little bit about the lore of Magic or our feelings about it and so on. But we'll get to that a little bit later in the show here. So yeah, I'm quitting Magic, and this is the point where I put the table flip in because F Planeswalkers. So this is the final time I'm going to bring this up as far as Planeswalkers go. It's kind of tied in with me quitting Magic.
Okay.
And if you've watched the channel at all, you know that I haven't quit Magic, and of course talking about Magic Arena at this point.
Oh yeah.
And what I didn't quit the game entirely. I'm still going on. I'm collecting my points for the day. I'm getting my gold. I'm working my way up that ladder there as far as experience goes. But that's it. I am swearing off for the month of getting to Mythic. And here's the reason why. Because, again, I said Planeswalkers.
Ouch.
After the month that I had, this past month, with the Planeswalker, it was too much. And so...
Which Planeswalker in particular?
There isn't one. It's all of them. It's seeing them so many times. So I wanted to do, and I've been promising up to this point that I was going to do a rant, just one rant about Planeswalkers and get it off my chest. But I understood that it was basically going to be 20 minutes of me screaming profanities at the camera, and nobody wants that, and that's not constructive. So I went online to see what other people's opinions were and see where they concurred with mine or where they differed, and maybe give a more rational reason for my dislike of Planeswalkers and such. And I was surprised that I couldn't find many, if any, well-articulated arguments. So we're left with me to struggle to give you mine without the profanity. And so here it is. This is what the complaints that I came across from. That they weren't interactive, that they didn't enhance the game in any way. So that's when the technical difficulty thing pops up. Anyhow, they didn't enhance the game. So if they're not enhancing the game, if they're not having any real impact in affecting the game, then why are people complaining about them? Right? That seems a paradox, right?
Right.
So I've already stated this before, it's because the majority of my collection, the first 14 years worth of cards that I collected, now have virtually no effect on Planeswalkers. They've introduced a invasive species into an environment, and it's just taken over. And so their most recent solution was just to pour more on there. Just pour that gas on there. So, trying to be a rational and mature person, I took it upon myself to say, really, what's wrong with Planeswalkers, and why do I have a problem with them? And it comes down to Arena. I am playing so many games and seeing Planeswalkers on such a level that it's just frustrating. So that's on me. That's not the Planeswalkers. That's not necessarily design fault or whatever. And that's when I decided I would take a step back. So yes, I hate Planeswalkers. I'm now going to give that a rest. We can stop talking about that. But it was seeing that every game I played, I encountered a Planeswalker.
Yeah.
And I could say every game I played because I was playing them too. But I didn't have a choice. If I didn't play a Planeswalker of my own, and that's my other complaint as far as the game design goes, is I am now forced to dedicate 3 to 5 to 7 slots to Planeswalker removal or Planeswalkers of my own to have to deal with them. So that's my complaint with the game. That's my complaint with Planeswalkers in the game and stuff like that. So, any rebuttal to that? Or
Absolutely.
Okay, let's hear it.
So
I can tell you were holding back. So,
all right. So when it comes to Magic Arena as it is right now, it's the meta. It's just the current meta right now. When you come off of a set such as War of the Spark,
right.
Where they just dump in 36 planeswalkers, 36, right?
Yeah, at least 36
all in one set.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're gonna encounter a lot of planeswalkers.
Right.
As long as War of the Spark is within the meta.
As long as it's standard there, yeah.
So, and I think it was a heavy-handed way of Wizards to just encourage planeswalker use. Plus, planeswalkers are very flashy. They're the personality of the game, especially with Magic Arena being a major esport now.
Right.
They need things that grab the attention of players or potential players.
Right.
And especially people watching the game and watching these esports going on. Yeah, you have Teferi come out and spit out his one-liner. That's cool. Even though you hear it over and over again. I imagine that's maddening after a while. But if you're like if you're just an esport spectator, if you're just watching Magic Arena and you're not like really into the game, but you like watching games being played, then it doesn't grate on you as much, and you're like, yeah, that's cool. Like, oh my God, Chandra.
So here's the other thing. And as much as I've been a champion of people playing Arena, and I've talked about it several times and asked everybody, are you playing and so on, that you're right, that it's very much the meta, and it very much gives an unrealistic representation of the game of Magic. Not Arena, because that's it, but it gives an unrealistic expectation for when you sit down to play Magic. Because I've played, and I'll see if I can flash an example up on the screen, but they allow you to have decks of cards that are so high you can't see them on the screen anymore. Normally you can mouse over and you can see, this person has 60 cards or 72 cards or 200 cards in their deck. There's one particular person that I played whose deck stretched so high I couldn't see it on the screen anymore.
That's hilarious.
Those people deserve to lose, but that's my opinion. I'm entitled to it.
Did they lose?
Oh, yes, they did.
Okay.
So it was worth it. But so it's like you're supposed to be able to, as much as you can shuffle with your hands and stuff, and that's why Commander is pushing it at that point. So.
Yeah.
But you touched on the important thing, which is it represents the meta. It represents a lot of people that are, not everybody on there's a spike, but the majority of them are, at least unrealistic expectations, and that's what I was suffering from. And also, I said this before, that it flipped that switch in my head, and I went right back to being a spike, and I didn't like that.
If you can't beat them, join them.
Yeah. And so it's not the same experience that I have when I sat down to play paper Magic. And so that's when I made the decisions like, I need to step back, take a nice cleansing breath, and now just play the game, collect my points while I can and stuff. At this point, I got a rule. I've got right over my computer and stuff. I've got a little sign that says, do not spend gold, do not buy packs, and do not, so I'm doing that. I'm not buying any packs in the game. All I'm doing is collecting packs and gold. I'm opening the packs or whatever, but I'm not buying packs and stuff. Okay. And having said that, it's, halfway through the month, and I only broke the rule once. I spent 5,000 gold or whatever to join a tournament, but I just went into draft rares. So I just snagged all the rares that I possibly could.
Oh, that's cool.
But that's it. And it leads to, like I said, just unrealistic expectations. And the idea that I or anybody is going to hit Mythic doesn't mean anything when you sat down at the table. And the thing that I enjoy and stuff is the companionship, the camaraderie, and that. And I'm taking too much of that out on Planeswalkers. So I still have my problems with them, but you know what? They're not going away anytime soon. It's a genie that's not going to be put back in the bottle. So I've got to deal with them. I've got to understand now that I've got to devote 10 slots in my deck to Planeswalker removal or something of that nature.
Oh, yeah. I mean, considering how huge the meta is right now, with so many sets being standard legal, and with Arena only being standard legal for the most part.
Right.
Yeah, that's a lot of Planeswalkers.
That's a lot of Planeswalkers to do.
Of Planeswalkers.
Having said that, this past, it was a really bad month last month. Going into it this month, it's finally quieted down a little bit. I can actually see the pattern. I'm actually watching closely enough, and I have the distance now, the objectivity to look at it and actually start to see the shift. And having said that, I'm not going for the gold, even just going in there trying to play and get my points. I'm slowly climbing up the ladder. And again, that's not what I'm trying to do or whatever, but it's just happening naturally and stuff. And like you said, it is starting to calm down just a little bit. But so that was one of the topics that I had here. The other thing that
I think Planeswalkers are cool, by the way.
I realize that, and you talked about it from the design standpoint, and that kind of brings me into the next point, which is my lack of interest. And we touched on this before. My lack of interest or apathy towards the story of the game.
Oh,
the lore.
Yeah.
So
Magic lore is so cool.
So tell me about that. But do you follow it? Do you read it? Do you consume any other media other than the cards themselves?
I don't.
Okay.
Yeah, I haven't bought any of the novels or anything like that. The only game I really did that for was Legend of the Five Rings.
Yeah.
Which was a really cool game.
Okay.
During its heyday.
Right.
Yeah, for Magic, it's mostly what I read off of the Mothership.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And the stories that I kind of glean from the cards themselves. And,
right.
It's. But there's so much that you can read into. Or another medium that I consume to figure out the lore or learn more about the lore is YouTube channels.
Yeah.
Where they condense
it for you.
And it's like, sweet.
For sure.
Okay.
Absolutely. And that's great. That's what I do a little bit up to a point. I got to say, I love the War of the Spark video there with Chandra and the Linkin Park song and stuff. That was
with Liliana?
Awesome. Yes, with Lilia and their immolation there.
Yeah.
Awesome. But as far as actually reading it, I still, because I played for so long, I still miss the days of the cards when the artwork had nothing to do with anything.
Oh, yeah.
You just look at it and you go what is an icy manipulator, and what is this crazy machine on here?
Yeah.
What is it's just I enjoy the but I understand
stasis.
Yeah. So it's I understand though that, and this is what I think everybody needs to understand, is Wizards of the Coast is selling us a product. And everything they do is to sell us a product. The fact that we love this game and we enjoy it and attach so much of our personality, allow it to weave into our personality into the game, that's on us. And that's not what they're there for. They're to sell us more cards.
Yes.
So when people get upset about things, keep in mind, and I know it's been said many places or whatever, where I first encountered it and it stuck with me was in Michael Crichton's Rising Sun. But people do what they want with the things they own. And somebody else owns this game. Somebody else is responsible for making these cards and printing them. The secondary value that's attached to it and so on is not their concern, but I mean it is, because of course you notice how all the Planeswalker decks are generally, or the Commander decks are generally balanced in price value for the most part.
Oh yeah.
So it obviously figures into their though they can't admit to that or whatever, because then it becomes a monopoly and they become controlling things. Anyhow, where was I going with this? I don't know. I'm lost. My point was the fact that this is just a game and somebody else is running it, and we're lucky enough to be able to play it. So I think we should always keep that in mind. I see so many people getting upset and screaming about this and that.
Oh, changes in the game?
Yeah, exactly.
Or new sets coming out, stuff like that.
And things like that. And it's they're here to sell us more cards. So as long as we buy into that, well, they're going to keep doing it. Right. I do worry, or I think at some point it will reach a what do you call it? It'll reach a saturation point, or a maximum capacity. There are diminishing returns where at some point it's not going to be worth it, but it's not there yet. Having said that, go ahead.
I think in regards to that, I think it comes and goes in waves. Like a lot of things in life, there's a cyclical nature to things. Magic did hit a lull at one point. I believe it was after, I want to say Urza's block. It was a lull when there was like Nemesis and I think Onslaught and some other things. So there was a lull there because, it was a powered down set. The power creep was too much, so they had to scale it back down.
Right.
And a lot of players that were playing during Urza's block was like, what the heck? Like, you expect me to play with this garbage?
Right.
When I was, taking extra turns and untapping all my things and casting even more spells. There's a cyclical nature to, particularly like attendance to events.
Right.
Stuff like that. Wizards doesn't always hit home runs.
Oh no. This is true.
And that's when you get player outrage and stuff like that. Or if things are like really unbalanced, like during what was it called? Cobblade.
Yeah.
Things were a bit unbalanced during that time.
Right.
And you had Jace the Mind Sculptor, during that time as well. And, I think from what I've read at least, even though there's tons, going back to the last point, even though there's tons of Planeswalkers nowadays, there's actually a really wide meta from what I've read.
Right.
Where you can do, combo or aggro or control, which are, as you know, the three major archetypes.
Right.
And so, it's Magic ultimately, I think it kind of boils down to a rock, paper, scissors type of game.
So
to make it real simple.
Exactly. And at this point with the decks that I'm playing, like I said, I'm just collecting experience points and stuff on there. But I have one that goes after your land, one that goes after your hand, and one that goes for your face. So that's my series of decks there. You know what I mean? And I've gone through all of them that we've talked about here, that I've talked about on previous episodes and so on. So I won't rehash all those, but all of them have been upgraded. And like I said, I'm slowly starting to creep up that ladder just because. Well, I want to say it's because I'm a better player now because I'm actually putting in the time to learn and to make adjustments and make changes. So, on that note, I'm going to say thank you very much again for joining me, Enrique.
My pleasure.
And for those of you that are new to the channel here, like, comment, and subscribe. We're going to be coming out with some more content, some more gameplay videos where I'll be looking for suggestions. Maybe next time we'll talk more about that red deck of yours that I created based on your suggestions.
Yeah,
I took that.
I'm sure it's flailing.
I went a goblin route with it because we need to do that. So we'll talk a little bit more about that. But we're looking for more content and more suggestions. So if you have anything here that you see that you like, that you'd like us to continue to do, or if there's anything you'd like us to stop doing, like me talking about Planeswalkers, well, I'm done with that now. So like, comment, subscribe, ring that bell down there so that you'll get notifications as we put out new episodes. And thanks for taking the time to watch us.